we finally get to it. The blue cappy video that I've been hoping to make for quite a while. With all the six mans coming out and the T3s, we haven't really had as much time in actual three mans, which is obviously where I'm going to be practicing my blue cappy. And probably a lot of people don't know this, but I actually used to main red cappy in Abyss. They kind of relegated me off of my minstrel because I was the only red cappy that dared to go into the moors and get the 10% incoming damage set. So apparently I was the best we had at the time. Well, look at that changed. Anyway, I really enjoy the captain. It's got a very special place in my heart and stuff, and it's got its place. Obviously, blue captain in general won't be the first choice. It will always be towards red, but when there isn't that pressure in a fight, like there's not an ad that comes out that has to sync quickly, or you want basically Oathbreakers, which is why you choose the red over the blue. It's definitely a solid choice. It gives you a lot more control. It gives you very good AoE heals, maybe a bit bad on the focused healing, as you can see. Not that I struggled to heal Jara, but he's on a champ tank, so Chank in, they never make it easy for me. They could have literally whipped out a Guardian or something else, but apparently that's too easy. So, pretty much in terms of rotation, you still bring in everything to the party. As you can see, I've got the Hope Banner guy for the extra mids. I've still got the Routing Cry buff, the Rallying Cry buff, all of those sorts of things. So I'm giving them the attack speed, the damage, and I'm putting out, fairly solid heals per second. I would say probably at this point with the build I'm using between 15 to 22k on a single target, and AoE can range. You can go anywhere between like 50 to 80k AoE, depending on how much you're rotating Words of Courage, and I'm pretty bad at that. You can actually see from my rotation, I'm a red cappy player, because I'm way too much in the battle hard and battle readied states, and I'm trying to rotate them and all of that. I'm actually doing a lot less healing than I should as a healer. But one thing that really actually just makes blue cappies really good is so in a red cappy, what happens is if you crit, your blade brother crits, and I don't know exactly the correlation of ranged and melee versus tactical, but there's something along those lines. Whereas a blue cappy, when they crit, they give their song brother I think it's 10 seconds of extra crit. So if you have a yellow RK and a Guardian, for instance, or even a Chank, to be honest, that's blue's awesome, because yellow RKs, as far as I understand, are gaining quite a bit of buffs from the Routing Cry buffs, the actual attack speed buff, and also that extra crit chance for tactical is crazy good. I think the reason why the guys actually wanted me to run it with this comp is because they wanted to use the Chank with the extra attack duration, or the reduced attack duration. As far as I understand, Jara was putting out anywhere between 25 to just under 50k DPS as a tank. And he's plenty survivable. This is a T5, and he's got it going on. And also, we just kind of do tend to enjoy a bit of shits and giggles. So yeah. Also, in terms of swappers, I wouldn't really bother with much. You can swap to a two-hander and drop a bit of stats and just a little bit of extra damage. You can still swap for your bleed if you have your unimbued emblem swapper. All those things viable. Generally also, I maybe keep up those standards, although I don't do it here because my bag only has 5 slots and I wanted other things in my swapper bag. Although I don't know why. Make haste swapper. That's stupid. Anyway, yeah, so you can always swap your standard. If you're about to take a hit or whatever, you can always swap to your larger standard. Just kind of get an extra 4k morale. It's not going to make that much of a difference, but who knows. Yeah, other than that, pretty easy. I think the rotation in general is get up your revealing mark. You want to kind of get to battle hardened as quickly as possible for the extra, I can't remember if it's 34% outgoing healing bonus. I actually forget. So you kind of want to get there quickly. So whether you burn a pot or time of need or whatever in the beginning of a bigger fight, if you really want to start off with good HPS, you can burn it. You can do, I think it's pressing attack, which is the one you don't need to actually target anyone for. Go straight to battle hardened. So the general vibe with blue is obviously, like I said, you want to be battle hardened. Battle readied is okay, because then when you hit the sure strike, you get 1% max morale. I think it's like 5 seconds over 10, so it's like you basically get everyone around you gets 2% of the max morale over 10 seconds, which is actually really bad. Like, that's just terrible. It would be honestly better if they could just buff it up to like, I don't know, 2 or 3%, because I mean, over 10 seconds isn't like, it's not very quick duration. Like, that's actually, it's terrible. So, like I said, not a bad idea being battle ready, and it's also, yeah, finally a reason to put battle ready damage on your tank in sword, because obviously at this point I'm using my blue my tank in as one, so kind of a bit of a waste of legacies, but I'm definitely not going to make another set of swappers. There are so many swappers on this character already, because I just generally, because of red, you know, you want a ton of swappers. And obviously your, you know, rallying cry, your words of courage. I mean, words of courage are 3 seconds. To be honest, I should be healing a lot better, but like there, it's off cooldown. I'm playing 2 red here. You can see me. Look at me fiddling around with battle hard and battle readied and stuff. You know, I'm so slow on the healing part, but I mean, cheapers, this is actually the first time that they let me play, so I was just like running off muscle memory, to be honest, which is over like 2 years old now apparently. And then on top of that, obviously, it's kind of complicated, because obviously you want Song Brother on the tank because of the, you know, the healing bonuses and the damage reduction and all of that. But like if you've got an RK, yellow one, you want them to have the crit bonus, so you kind of want to like put Song Brother on them. So I guess it's a give and a take. I think if you have something like pretty strong in terms of if you have like a Guardian, because I mean with your mid paid out to the Guardian, I mean they're very what, like if they're fully fortified and everything, you can get that up to like, what's it like? I'm trying to figure out the maths. It's 12% plus 3, so like 75% for his mid cap, which is like hella strong. So you don't have to really worry about them in terms of healing. So then yeah, buff it. But if you kind of sat in the position we're in here, I think I just put Song Brother. Actually, it's on break right now, but I think I switched over to Jara just for a bit of extra healing. And then on top of that, you know, having both marks is not bad. I tried kind of far down to red to get red banner, but you can play however you want to. You can always take blue banner if, you know, you don't really care that much about DPS. Alright, boss 1. Let's go in it. Generally, this is the kind of boss that you could do without a healer. You know, because you just use self-heals and stuff. I generally end up doing that if I'm on the BN for your own in tank. But I think Jara really wants to stick in a decent DPS pass here, so he's gunning at it. Yeah, so generally, like I said, revealer markup, you know, trying to get battle hardened, you know, so if you have the, like, if you have to choose burn battle ready to go to battle hardened, I would do it any day of the week just for the extra outgoing healing. Generally, stat progression wise as well, I feel like outgoing healing on the blue cappy is definitely less priority by a long shot than crit, just like the red cappy. You know, you're definitely going to want to stack as much crit as possible so that you can get the defeat responses, and also, I mean, you're getting so much from battle hardened. So I think at the moment I'm running the 2-piece anvil set just for the extra 5% outgoing healing, and then I've just slotted like crits and things like this on it. And I actually think I put the class essence in there, which is I think another 20%. Right? Chad didn't dodge. Well done. Shit. I think he was so busy DPS and he didn't actually really pay attention. But yeah, so I think I've got the class essence in there. I think it's 20% on crit, I think, and it lasts for 10 seconds, and I think it's got a 20-second internal cooldown. So, but it's all, I mean, it's good. It's good for pulse healing, things like that, although you can't really control the proc rate unless you're an absolute master. And as well, I wanted to also mention, I think if you've got a captain tank and like a red or blue cappy, I'm not 100% sure of this, but I think if you almost like reveal and mark opposite targets and you attack both of those separate targets, I think then you probably get the returns from both reveal and marks. I haven't tested it, but I was thinking of that for like the Nazgul fight, you know, if you ever had a captain tank, which we haven't really done on Crick yet. I don't think any captain tanks have actually done it for the T3, or not yet since making this video. But I mean, that could probably like be in the beginning, like when you settle in a bit of aggro and whatever, you could like reveal and mark both different targets, and then when you want to sync them, you just switch to like tally mark on the DPS target. Something like this. Come on, Jara, run through. Do it. Do it. Jeez, he left that late. The guy's putting hairs on my chest. Yeah, so in general, like, you're pretty much bringing everything to the table. You're going to think to yourself, okay, well, you know, like, you've spent so much time, ash, and essences making this cat. You know, white, blue, all of that sort of stuff. And like I said before, what's nice about it is the gear is almost completely interchangeable between red and blue. I think I swap out maybe like 3 or 4 pieces. Because you obviously need crit on both of them. You want to crit a lot. Generally, also, like I said to you, you're not, outgoing healing's like less appropriate. Oh, watch this. You get frontal to death. Oh, Sergeant is the one. I was wondering how it died actually in this. Wow. Rip. Oh, well, I do a little bit of a fast forward run. Yeah, so outgoing healing is obviously less on the curve because you're going to get tons from battle hardened, although it's not useless because you're going to be so far down the outgoing healing curve, the efficiency for slotting it's going to be pretty good. So at the moment, if you quickly had a look at that, I run the 2-slotter anvil for the 5%, and I put a few outgoing healing in there, I think, like 1 piece of armor, just to kind of push me a little bit higher up the curve. But my crit generally is quite high. I think it's between 500 to 550 without any buffs, so that when I go in my raid cappy build, I'm up on like the 600 pushing it, because I play very support. I barely DPS when I play red, because as you can tell, I like to heal. And obviously for blue, it's amazing because your outgoing healing pushes up, you know, and I get the pulse from the class essence. So yeah, I definitely, you know, dig to pump out quite a bit of crit in my heals and stuff like that, and then obviously get my defeat responses quite quickly. So yeah, you might be thinking to yourself, okay, well, where are we going to use blue cappies? And generally, this is tough. I would still rate red in the Fallen Kings. I think everyone and their mother runs reg. But if you actually went into like Lamentations, I think blue might be viable for the first 2 bosses. And the reason why is they can be DPS races, but you can also do them just as like a, you know, a bit of a jog, like a bit of a marathon. You know, the first boss is literally just drop in puddles and survivability. So with a bit of extra AoE heals, you know, if someone stands in a puddle like, you know, a few seconds too long, they're not going to die, which is so good. I mean, that's literally that. And then also you buff in all the DPS with all your other rotation. And you can still have your red banner and stuff. So, you know, once you've dropped puddles and you get back behind him, you can drop a banner down and go to town. The only thing you're going to be missing is just literally Oathbreakers, really, and a bit of personal DPS. But like I said, you can always swap your weapons and your emblems. So when you want to actually just jog a bit of DPS, you can swap to your red stuff. And then when you see you're starting to fall behind, you can switch back to your blue. And you can get out a bit of healing. So you can kind of play both sides of the fiddle. Other than that, like boss 2 as well, I mean, you can do what pretty much everybody on the hardcore servers do, and, you know, just gun the boss down while the ads are coming out and blah blah blah, and just ignore them. But you know, in our video we obviously played for the time game, where we pretty much just brought all the ads out, killed them, and then when he couldn't spawn any more ads, we just DPS'd him down to dead. And in that case, it's like kind of a bit of a marathon. So you can always just like have a yellow burg with some double disables or whatever, and you can have a blue cappy, and then at least you've got that control. You know, when the percentage heals start coming out, I mean, percentage bleeds start coming out, all of that sort of stuff. And even the last boss, when you fight in the Gaunt Woman or whatever in the river, I mean, that percent bleed, you know, just depends on your healer. I mean, to be honest, that last fight is a joke, so I wouldn't recommend it there. But, you know, you could probably actually heal the entire thing on blue cappy, you know, and instead of, say, then taking a minstrel, you could probably just chuck a blue cappy in there. And now saying these words, I regret not taking my blue cappy in there and finishing it. But I had no clue what the fight was going to be like when we did it. Okay, for the final boss here, I want to tell you straight off the bat, Break's actually in yellow because we were worried about the pot in, just generally. This is kind of also where I think a little bit of the captain gets a bit sad for healing, is you have to get right up close and personal to the mobs, so you're going to have to maybe be standing in a bit of puddles and stuff every now and then to be able to get out your rotate your battle ready, battle hardened states, which is a bit of a bugger compared to like the minstrel. You can just park off in the corner and just like smash out heals. So a little bit of a sad one on that sense. But let's talk about add-ons for a second. As you can see, I am tracking certain buffs and debuffs and all of this, or actually just buffs. And when I play captain, blue or red, or even yellow, I like to track battle hardened, battle readied. And generally in a fight where I'm not moving too much, or hopefully when I've practiced and haven't just played my captain literally once, I'll do it better. I also like to track my banner pet, just to know, because sometimes you get like here maybe an explosion, or if you're in like anvil and like, you know, you flops and you one-shot your pet, you remember, hey, I need to bring this bra back out. You know, that sort of a thing. And that, and also obviously the round and cry, rallying cry buffs, to make sure that you're actually doing your job, because that's what your job is to actually keep up buffs the whole time. Which is ironic, because I'll probably let that rallying cry buff time out. Terrible person. Ah, gosh. Super noob. I'll get better, I promise. And then on top of that, those are good ones to kind of track. On top of that, also one thing I really like to track is 2 arms, and the reason being is you can obviously overlay 2 arms. If you have like captain tank and you've got a red or a blue captain, you can actually pretty much juggle damage reduction on the entire fellowship, make sure there's more outgoing damage, you know, that sort of thing. Because obviously, you can always use them at the same time, but if you overlay them and they last in 25 seconds with a minute cooldown, you can pretty much get 50 seconds out of a minute of extra DPS, more damage reduction, that sort of a thing. You know, so you're actually playing quite a supporting role. And I really enjoyed that like idea of that, although in practice that never happens. You know, tanks just use it as a general cooldown rather than like, hey, we're in a fight, like the entire fellowship's taking damage here, you know, maybe I should do a bit of rotating, you know, just to kind of keep everybody healthy. But yeah, I mean, in general, the fight's quite easy. I think this takes a little bit longer because breaks in yellow and everything, but I mean, we generally make sizably quick work of him. And I don't really even feel like the heals were ever too much of a problem here, other than like when I was being a bit of a stupid person and just running through puddles and all of that. I'm definitely not used to being in melee range anymore. Jeepers, I haven't played Raid Cappy in ages. And on that, I also want to talk about something that we haven't touched on yet, is sure strike buffs. So every captain line has got it. If you're in yellow, it's like minus 5% incoming damage, and I think parry, something like that. Kind of mostly just half defense term that everyone likes. Red's obviously the one everyone loves with the extra like 45k crit and mastery and plus 5% outgoing healing, I assume, something like this. And it's awesome. And then obviously blue is kind of the like less known one, as because not many people are focusing on it. But obviously when you use sure strike in battle ready state, the buff that lasts is minus 5% attack duration, which is obviously good for any melee DPS. And as far as I understand, yellow rune keepers also kind of benefit from that buff. I don't know if it makes the animations are slightly shorter, but that's what I've kind of understood from what people have been saying. Plus 5% incoming healing and plus 2% tac mits. And that plus 2% tac mits is hella good. Like, in pretty much all the fights, other than boss 2 of Houses of Lamentation, they all seem to be tac damage. Whether the guy's hitting with his fist, if you actually just look through on your combat analysis, most of them have been transferred into some sort of tactical damage, whether it's shadow or whatever. So that's pretty much one of the only ways at the moment to increase tactical mitigations through other means, you know, other than like a minstrel's SOSs, that sort of a thing. And I mean, the fact that minstrels can't use the old set bonus from throne for the extra tactical mitigations from Anthem of Composure, you know, that sort of stuff, it kind of creates that gap where this could actually be really good. I mean, you could actually take a blue captain into the Nazgul fight, whatever, the Fallen Kings, and they could be sat there. I mean, obviously you're not going to have the Oathbreakers, but you're pretty much going to have a little bit more survivability, more attack speed, and all of that sort of stuff. So you kind of bring in what a raid brings to the table. But obviously, you know, you're missing the crit, the mastery, the Oathbreakers, that sort of stuff, and the extra crit chance on the red banner. So yeah, It's kind of a bit of a give and a take, and I honestly think it just maybe could depend on who's tanking, how much survivability you have, and if your DPS are actual just beasts, because then you could maybe get away with like losing certain things because they'll just kind of compensate, but you just bring more survivability to the table.